was another steamy summer morning in the big town. A day when Lady Luck would bring me together again with Rhonda. But I'm jumping ahead. The sound of the telephone hit me like a Marciano left hook. It was Osterman. He said he was in deep trouble. 8 feet deep, to be exact. He'd been attempting to install a Loop-Loc safety swimming pool cover, and he fell into the pool. That's Osterman for you. Always diving into his work. His clients were smart. They'd ordered the best. The one and only Loop-Loc. The only pool cover strong enough to support Bubbles, the elephant. What a doll. But proper installation technique will probably always be a mystery to Osterman. I told him I'd be right over. When measured and installed correctly, Loop-Loc performs like the heavyweight champ that it is. It keeps your customers safe, and it qualifies for Loop-Loc's 10-year warranty. But when you try to cut corners, you're just looking for trouble. Trouble that can be avoided so easily just by following a few simple guidelines. Hello, Osterman. I see when it comes to installing, you're still all wet.
I can't understand why the cover doesn't fit. I gave him a sketch.
That's no way to diagram a pool. That's like trying to draw the Mona Lisa on an Etch-a-Sketch. Let's go, Osterman. I'm taking you in for a Loop-Loc measuring seminar. Hiya, Rhonda. Got a little problem for you. Name's Osterman. Can't measure to save his life.
Yeah, you gotta help me, Rhonda.
No problem. We'll show you all you need to know. Now, what kind of pool were you trying to measure?
Oh, that's easy. A swimming pool?
Guess we'd better go over both methods. Now, for rectangular pools, we need the length, width, and cross-diagonal dimensions. And if there are extensions on either side or at the end, you'll need to measure those separately. Of course, for every pool you measure, you need to tell us the amount and type of decking and locate any non-removable barriers like ladders or rails. And remember, Loop-Loc is always looking for inside pool measurements only.
Okay, but what if it's a funny-shaped pool?
Well, if it's not a rectangle, we call it a form fit. For these, you need to supply triangulated dimensions.
Uh-oh. I always had trouble with geometry.
Don't worry. You don't need any advanced degrees for this. Here's how it works. To create a baseline, set up 2 points, A and B, about 2/3 the length of the pool. If we were facing the pool, point A would be on our left and point B would be on our right. Use screwdrivers, ice picks, or stakes to mark the points. Most important, the AB line must never cross any part of the pool, even when the line is extended. For instance, this line is too close. Your AB line should always be at least 3 feet back from the closest part of the pool. Move even farther back for very large pools. Next, you need to chalk off and number points around the inside edge of the pool at about 3-foot intervals. When you get to any tight radius area or any rocks or raised wall area, mark your points closer, every 1 or 2 feet. Be sure to number all corner points and any non-removable barriers, such as ladders, rails, slide legs, rocks, spillways, planters, or spas. When in doubt, number it. Measuring is a 2-person job. One person takes measurements from point A to each numbered point around the pool, while the second person writes it down in Loop-Loc's measuring form. After you've measured each mark from point A, move your tape to point B, and, starting again from chalk mark number 1, go around the pool a second time. Then take a few cross measurements as a double check. This is important because if you've made a mistake with your ABs, the cross measurements will help us to catch it. Be sure to measure between points you marked earlier. Complete all sections of Loop-Loc's measuring form at the site. Draw a sketch of the pool in the grid provided, And don't forget to fill in the length of your AB line. List all your AB measurements in the columns, identifying any non-removable obstacles. And it's very important to complete the questionnaire of required information. Finally, take Polaroid photos whenever the pool has anything out of the ordinary. That includes all rocks, ladders, rails, waterfalls, raised walls, spas, planters.
Okay, I get the idea.
Well, the most important idea is that following these procedures benefits you, because it ensures that we can complete your order or estimate without delays.
Delays? Uh-oh, that reminds me. I got a pool to measure. Woo-hoo-hoo!
The call was inevitable. As sure a bet as a thoroughbred in a poodle race. It was Osterman, of course. The good news? He measured correctly this time. So his custom Loop-Loc cover was built to a perfect fit. The bad news? Now he was trying to install it. I hightailed it over to the scene of his crime. It was even worse than I expected. Osterman didn't have a clue. And the pool owner was getting madder than a bull in a red cape factory. There was only one thing I could do. Hello. Rhonda. Code 3.
Okay, boys. Show me what you got.
Rhonda, this cover is defective. It keeps falling in the pool.
That's because you didn't lay a rope grid over the pool first. You have to do that with all form-fit covers. Use stakes and rope to lay a grid across the pool. Make sure the rope is tight enough to support the cover while you install it. Okay, Osterman, where's your anchor plan?
Here.
No. Every form-fit Loop-Loc cover comes with a computer printout showing exactly how to lay out the cover and where the anchor should be positioned. Stretch the cover over the rope grid, following Loop-Loc's anchor plan. Be sure to adjust for equal overlap on all sides. Once the cover is properly aligned, attach the springs to the straps. Lace the strap through the square end of the spring. Position the buckle close to the X at the end of the strap. That way, all the straps will be even, and you'll be able to get the springs properly compressed. That's important. Okay, now you're ready to locate and install the first 4 anchors. Just check your anchor plan.
Let's see. Oh, here it is. Anchor number 1. Right in the middle.
Now mark the first anchor point on the deck.
Okay. That would be right here.
No.
Here?
No.
Here.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Here.
No, you've got to measure.
Here. Here it is.
As you can see on the bottom ruler, this particular cover has an overlap of 15 inches. To find the anchor point, measure 18 inches back from the edge of the cover, not from the edge of the pool. That's important because if you install the anchor too close, you'll never get the springs properly compressed. Mark the anchor point straight back along the strap line.
There's no reason to be baffled by the case of anchor installation. My investigation has revealed all it takes is careful planning and a steady hand. Check out the evidence.
Here it is. 18 inches on the nose.
Good. Now what can you tell me about this deck?
Well, it's kind of comfortable.
No. Oh. It's stone. And this stone is thick enough so that we can use Loop-Loc standard concrete deck anchors. Now, where's your drill?
Here she is. Old Faithful.
Looks more like Old Fallible to me. Now this is more like it. You'll get best results if you use a rotary hammer drill with a long spline bit. Use a 3/4 inch bit. For all concrete decks and thick stone like this one, use Loop-Loc standard brass anchoring system. To be sure your drill is straight, have your partner stand back and sight for you. Drill a straight, clean hole 2 1/4 inches deep. Before inserting the brass anchor shell, spray the shell, insert, and tamp tool with a silicone spray. Insert the shell in the hole and tamp lightly with the tamp tool until it's flush and tight. Then, screw the brass insert into the shell, using the hex anchor tool if necessary.
Concrete, brick, wood. A good installer can handle them all. That's why you've got to be prepared for anything. And why you've got to watch this. And you, get back to work.
For brick, pavers, or stones laid loose on sand or cement, use the anchor in pipe method. You'll need a length of 3/4 inch inside diameter pipe or conduit 15 inches long. Secure Loop-Loc's brass anchor shell in the end. Before drilling, try to locate and avoid any underground water pipes. Use a rotary drill with a bit large enough to accommodate the width of your pipe or conduit. Drill between the bricks or pavers to avoid cracking them. Continue drilling in case concrete is laid under the brick. Finally, drive the anchor and pipe assembly into the deck until flush. Place a block of wood over the end so you don't damage the anchor assembly. If the pipe gets stuck, you may not have drilled far enough. For a nice clean look, use Loop-Loc's masonry anchor collars. You'd be surprised what a difference they make. For wood decks, you have two options. If the deck is at least 1 3/4 inches thick, you can use Loop-Loc's standard brass anchoring system. Otherwise, use Loop-Loc's wood deck anchor flanges as shown here. Okay, now what's the next step?
Break for lunch.
No, you should install the springs on the anchors. You'll be able to see the steps of spring installation clearly against this white deck. Insert the installation rod through the spring and pull back until it slides down around the anchor. To remove the spring, just reverse the operation. When installed for the first time, springs should be totally compressed for a proper fit. For instance, this spring is way too loose. And by the way, for safety reasons, Loop-Loc recommends the metal installation rod for authorized dealer use only. So if you use one, don't leave it with your customer. Let's review form-fit anchor installation on this basic kidney-shaped pool. Always start with the anchors at the middle of the cover. Install the center 4 anchors and springs across the length of the pool first. Then, install the next 4 anchors and springs across the width of the pool. Install the remaining anchors in an alternating pattern, working from the middle of the cover to the ends. Remember, a properly installed cover is a safe cover, no matter what kind of company drops by.
The clues told me the case was under control. Then it happened. Osterman hit the wall.
Gee, what am I going to do with this?
Aha! Caught you red-handed trying to bypass proper raised wall installation. That can get you 5 to 10 years, Osterman, in remedial installation school.
This is important. Even though we're showing you the procedure now, you should install all raised wall sections first, before measuring or installing any regular anchors. When you first lay out the cover, pull the snap hooks close to the wall or rock to mark the eye bolt locations. At each location, carefully drill to a depth of 2 1/4 inches using a 5/8 inch bit. For safety, consider using a float to protect your drill from the water, and always use a ground fault interrupter on your power line. The lead shield comes in 2 parts that fit together. Make sure you insert the lead shield into the wall, flared end first. Tamp with the lead shield tamp tool. Then, screw the eye bolt into the shield and fasten the snap hook to the eye bolt. The lead shields can also be used in wood obstructions, as long as they're at least 2 3/4 inches thick. Loop-Loc's patented safe-edge child safety barrier can be trimmed to fit irregularities. But be careful, trimming too much could make the cover unsafe.
Let's see, cover laid out, anchors located.